Welcome to this episode, this rendition of 123 Cabo, the Detroit Lions edition. It's your boy Zeke, aka Fat Boy Season, man. We're here with a very special guest. We're here with my boy. Go ahead and let the people know who you are.
Hey, this your boy Deej, aka Swaggy Deej. I'm here, on the Cabo thing.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, it's very few people that I know that are Detroit Lions fans. Just like very people that I know that are actually Cleveland Browns fans. So we got a lot in common there. So you guys went 3-13-1 this year. And for some reason I feel like the teams that tie are generally the same few teams. It's always Pittsburgh. It's always seems like maybe Green Bay. I feel like Detroit gets one like every couple of years. Don't know why, man, but a down season. You guys are kind of in rebuild mode. Any other particular reason you think you guys kind of struggled this season?
I think for the most part, we had new management, upper management with Brad Holmes. Also, as far as with the coaches, as kind of let Anthony Lynn go, inconsistent gel with the offense. I think towards the Taylor end of it, when we started hitting our strides, we let him go, went away from. Well, of course, we didn't have Swift, so we kind of went away from the running game successfully, but kind of started filtering into our St. Brown. I think we got a good step towards the future for the most part. I think the main focus this year they tried to lock in on was the trenches. So that was my most key point that I was following. So I was trying to watch the O line and the D line for the most part.
Absolutely, man. That's always a great foundation, man. We all know games are won in the trenches. With Panay Sewell, with your pick last year. Like you said, you got DeAndre Swift. You also signed Jamal Williams. So I think going in the future, you guys can be very run based and have a real opportunity to build that offense up, and then you go into your play action game and make it a lot easier on your quarterback. So I guess I want to know what do you think are some of the biggest positional needs that you guys have?
I think off top, it's probably a tie between the secondary help as far as with safety in the back. Our DB, they're really young. I'm a walk. I think they took a couple steps forward, a lot more thought. And Kuda got hurt. We got to take that into account. But hopefully he comes back full strength next season. But for sure, safety and then the edge rush. I'm kind of really highly disappointed. Expect more out of him from his contract. We're going to probably part ways with him. So I would say, as far as with the draft, I think we should probably take Hutchinson or the boy out of Oregon. I don't want to say his name wrong.
Thibodeau, yeah. Caden Thibodeau? Something like that. It's Thibodeau. That's all I know.
Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I think I guess a question there. I don't know the corner's name, but I know he had a pick against Cleveland in our game. Obviously, it wasn't Akuda, but he seemed to be a pretty good playmaker in the secondary. I think you mentioned him earlier, and I think he has a chance if you can get Akuda back and right that secondary can soon become a strength of the football team because you guys you're young there, but you always got the room to grow. Bring in a couple vets, some stuff like that. But I guess also on that end, I want to know: do you know of any free agents? I think from my perspective, I think from the secondary, you guys could get another safety like you mentioned. Marcus Mays out there, Marcus Williams from the Saints, and among a few others.
Yeah, I think going into free agent this year, we do need to focus on a couple people that's in house. So I like Tracy Walker. Took steps forward. Charles Harris on the end for the defensive end. I think that's going to be our main focus next year is patterning that defensive line. So I think that's where with Hutchinson and drafting or Thibodeau get help out. One thing outside of the defense, I really want to say, although we do need a quarterback, the team can only go as far without a quarterback. So I know we'll probably attack that in the draft, but I want to say we need to probably lock in on a 1A receiver. St. Brown is to me. He can be a positive. I know, going to be double coverage and everything. We got to account for was out and Swift was out, so a lot of targets went to him off the strength. So although we talk a lot of trash about Ridley, I wouldn't mind seeing them having to go out. Who else is the free agent, that wide receiver?
This is a pretty good free agent class when it comes to wide receivers. If you want to go big physical wide receivers, you got some guys like Mike Williams. And then you got some other like slot receivers that can play inside and out. You got a Juju, you got a Chris Godwin. If you want somebody to take the top off the defense, you got your boy Will Fuller. So it's a pretty good wide receiver class as far as free agents.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm not too keen on Juju. I don't know. Maybe next year with a fresh start, new QB. He had that 1 year and kind of just fell off the earth for the most part. I did like as Mike Williams had, but he was like a hot flash player. Like he was on the first 6-7 games and then he disappeared and then he came back and then disappeared. I need him. We're gonna spend money on a main wide receiver. I need some type of like longevity. Out of those couple wide receivers you just mentioned, I'd probably say Godwin, but I'm kind of hesitant, even though I know we need a solid wide receiver. I think our best key, because we don't have a quarterback, and I think without having a quarterback, it's hard to recruit, especially these skilled players for the most part. Like Goff, he's probably another placeholder for a year. The draft doesn't really have too many. I know they're looking into getting the guy from Cincinnati. I think his name is Ritter or something like that. He reminds me of like, so he's been there for a little bit of while at school, so we'd have to see how that transition. But I mean, wishful thinking would be, somehow miraculously we get Deshaun Watson, because we got that many massage parlors up there, so he better stay out of trouble and stuff.
Absolutely. You made a good point saying how it's kind of hard to attract the free agents or the big name quarterbacks. So I think what you guys may do is, like you said, kind of continue to build up. Probably it'll be through the draft, building up your skill players. So you got DeAndre Swift, you got TJ Hockenson, you got Jamal Williams, you got the Sun God, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. I did see he was pushing for his college teammate, Drake London. USC, big physical receiver, about 6'5", had like he put up some ridiculous numbers. I think he had maybe 10 touchdowns and 60 catches in 8 games or something like that. Like big target, big physical. He can go get it. On jump balls, he's pretty athletic in that regards. Not a burner in any way. But it does have a first round grade. So maybe with that Rams pick, you guys might think about it if he's still there. It's a pretty good wide receiver draft. Alabama got a couple of guys coming out, Jameson Williams, as well as John Mechie, who I think his draft stock both of them, their draft stocks kind of dipped due to injury. And then it's a guy at Arkansas too, who's 6'2", pretty fast, runs like a 4.3, can go get it. They say he played a lot of slot, a big slot receiver. So I think that's another way to kind of build it up. If you can get another good receiver on the opposite side of Amon-Ra, 2 running backs, a tight end, good offensive line, that started to look kind of attractive.
Yeah. I think for the most part, we got I like the foundation. We got a good basis. Of course, the strongest part of our team is the offensive line. So, that's enticing to a quarterback, although, location, people are idealistic. But, at the football perspective, a quarterback want to be protected. So, we got a good, favor right there in our sense of coming with a quarterback. But like you said, I think we'll have to probably get our quarterback out the draft. Yeah. Honestly, I'm not too keen. Like I said, I'm not too keen on drafting any quarterback this year. But I know we're probably going to start with that Rams pick. That's why they probably get the dude out of Cincinnati. I know we guys talk about the dude. His name's Sam Howell out of UNC. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like all the major quarterbacks probably the 2023 draft, like Stroud. So I think this year is more focused on we have to beef up the defense and the specialty skill players. Like a couple of that one wide receiver out of Penn State, and then the other one out of Purdue. I think those they big, like I said, big physical and big plays, and they have the cut routes in the middle game. So that's also a bonus added onto it. A lot of big wide receivers, aren't that skilled in both sides.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah, just the quarterback situation in general. It's tough to find one, man. It's coming from a Cleveland Browns fan. Like it's super hard to find your franchise guy, albeit through the draft or free agency, really. So like with somebody like Deshaun Watson actually being available is kind of unprecedented to be like 25, 26 and actually be available for trade. You usually don't see that when he got, top 5 quarterback potential. So but I think Jared Goff's a pretty good, placeholder for the time being. The team isn't really, really ready to win now, but he can keep you guys afloat and have some competent quarterback play as you try to kind of develop your Swifts and your Hawkinsons and your Amon-Ra St. Browns. Because they flashed that connection flashed a good deal down the stretch of the NFL season.
I think I want to compare some kind of like it's like Pittsburgh and the Saints. They don't have QBs, but they got that's what we kind of form around. We got they building on defense, and we got certain specialty players. So it's kind of like we just need that one focal piece. So I think we got to be preparing ourselves in order to get a solid quarterback. But for all means, Deshaun Watson out there, we got the draft capital and all that. We can pitch. That's a home run hit right there. I don't mind, pushing all the chips in there because you get there, like I said, we'll fully hit a free agent. You want to come play back with him. He would make it more attractive for other agents to come. And I think I know people would probably look at it and see Hawkinson Swift's over there, but they the quarterback is face. Unless you got a Cook or you got a Jonathan Taylor or some running back aspect, first look is going to be the quarterback. So I think that will open up doors for us because Goff is a good placeholder, but he's not about to turn any heads where God won't be like, oh yeah, I want to come here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Goff gets clowned a lot, but he's been to a Super Bowl, which a lot of quarterbacks can't say. And he's also, been fairly productive, albeit, obviously Sean McVay is one of the best offensive minds in the league, but he's actually had some pretty productive seasons. When you get some talent and you put him in a system where he's able to kind of be a guy and not really the guy, the driving force of the engine. So I think you guys got a real opportunity to kind of grow over these next few years, especially as you build up your secondary and your defense and then build up those offensive skill players. So how do you feel about your guy, Dan Campbell?
I like Dan Campbell. I think a lot of people get misconstrued as far as with Stafford. Stafford was always a great quarterback, but I feel like your team can be as good as the man. Martha Ford handed it over to, majority to her daughter and everything, and letting go of the reins for the most part and reconstruct her. And I think that was the best thing they did. When they first brought in Brad Holmes, I'm like, okay, they're trying to change up, what the front office look like, with the mentality. And they came with Dan Campbell. And, I only knew so much from when he was with the Saints. And they gave him, Drew Brees gave him high praise. He's he can relate to the players. And I think with the Matt Patricia era, he was trying to enforce his will on them instead of trying to come to gather the troops. I feel like Dan Campbell has a whole other players. The players know that, he's ready to go to war with them. I don't think they get that certainty from the other coaches that we had. They go to extreme measures, biting kneecaps off. Got lined up at practice on the line. The coaches that go up against defensive linemen just show his physicality. But I think that's that's what we needed. We needed Motown is a hard fought city. Everything's hard. So that's the type of mentality the football need. And I think that's what they took in the steps going further. Although our record was 3-13-1, but if you look back at a lot of the games, a lot of those games were winnable. So it's kind of they're learning how to win. And I know everybody wanted them to tank, but even with the second pick, we still gonna get one or the two, the best DNs that they have coming out the draft. So I kind of like the effort trying to win and learning how to win, because you got to learn how to in order to gain wins over their future. So
absolutely, yeah, I like him as a head coach too. I generally like to look at the coaching perspective, you're either like an offensive or defensive genius, or you're a leader of men. And he seems to be like a leader of men, a players coach, because he can relate. He actually played in Detroit. I think he was a tight end.
Right.
And then, like you said, he got high praise from Drew Brees, who's been one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So just being able to galvanize men, even if it is to bite kneecaps off, like being able to be consistent and like I said, y'all are very competitive. Should have beat Baltimore. Went to the obviously you tied with Pittsburgh, was within a score with the Browns in a very winnable game, and that I thought we was gonna lose. To be completely honest, a bunch of games. I really don't think you guys got blown out, but maybe like once or twice all season. So I think you guys got a real opportunity to continue to grow under him, and then also I guess, eventually take that step when the personnel actually gets to where it needs to be. Because, obviously coaching can only do so much, but I think he has a chance. He has a chance to be a really good coach. He's probably going to be at least y'all best coach since Jim Caldwell and that whole debacle of him leaving but shouldn't have been gone.
Right. But I don't think they'll mess it up this time. Like, Jim Caldwell should have never got fired in the first place. Even everybody know that. It was I think we went 9. It was 11-5, 10-6, and then 9-7, like 2 other seasons after that. So it wasn't. He just can't get over that playoff hurdle. And then on top of that, like our division, ain't easy. It's for the most part when the Vikings is playing right, and you got Aaron Rodgers. But hopefully that bad man not there next year. So that kind of opens the table for anybody in that division.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to actually talk about that, man. It just seems, it kind of been the underlying topic all season of whether or not he stays, where he goes, if he does leave, or whether or not Aaron Rodgers retires. And it just kind of feels like the way that they lost last night, that might have been the last game, whether he retires or whether he goes elsewhere. And in the case that he does, that division is now wide open. I mean, in Chicago, they're trying to find their coach. And Justin Fields is still a very young quarterback. Minnesota, they potentially getting rid of Kirk Cousins. They trying to find a coach. So that's really a wide open division. Like you guys can mess around and get a few more pieces on offense and defense and really be competing at worst for a wild card spot. And I say that because it's a very winnable division at that point, at least division games. And we've talked about this in the other podcast, kind of how the Cowboys beat up on their division, and then when they kind of get to the playoffs, they kind of fold because they 6-0, 5-1 against that division. They ain't really played anybody, so that kind of beefs up those wins, and then they're like 500 against the rest of the league. And then, but I mean, at least you made the playoffs, but you got early exits, so that could be kind of a situation there where you guys can rack up some division wins and then maybe sneak in the playoffs. So I think it's very possible. So I don't know, man, but I think you guys got a lot of potential. A lot of potential though. So yeah, we covered like free agents and some targets like that. You guys got a decent amount of cap space, about $30 million. That's before any like cap casualties and all the stuff that happens around training camp. So I think it's like middle of the pack as far as available money. So I think you guys will be some spenders, man. You always see a few free agents that tend to go, where the money goes. So if you guys are willing to give it out, then y'all got a high potential to land a pretty decent free agent to fill some of those holes that you guys got.
I think also on top of that is like I don't think we as fans realize how much control the players have and influencing other players to come play. Mm-hmm. And that's why I kind of like to end it on the note of that stretch. Like, more people was kind of keying in and seeing like, they had lost some, we lost some in the end when we won our first one. That, we started gelling and putting stuff together and being competitive, and it kind of drawed attention. So I think the players are going to be the most influential when it comes to us getting more free agents. I know we're going to cut a couple big players on the team. Like I think Trey Flowers is getting cut out, release some cap space, a couple other people on the defense. So for sure, I think we'll be spenders. I don't know how much, but I think it all depends on, which free agent, trying to go after. Like I said, if there's anywhere we can get Deshaun Watson, I'm pushing all the chips in. That's outside they're not going to probably put the second overall pick, but, we got other picks from the Rams and, from other teams in our own that we kind of put together with cap. including young players. So
Yeah,
I feel like we can. It all depends on how stubborn they.
absolutely, man. I think with all that being said, I believe like you said that you guys could be some spenders, man. And with like I said, a young Swift and a young Hawkinson, you never know who they might attract because Swift I think has the potential to be top five type running back. His ability to receive as well as to run. I feel like you guys haven't really run him enough in his first 2 years. I know he's been banged up, but it's been like mostly towards the end of the season. But he's especially this year, he got like a ton of catches for the stretch that he did play. I think as he gets more carries and gets more involved in the run game, I think he can be really explosive. He can be a really good, really productive, highly productive player. I think he's nice, man. He's one of my favorites.
I think. I think once it got towards the end, because I feel like he could have been came back by the way, but it's like why waste him on a season? It doesn't matter. We're not going to playoff at this point. We're playing for position in the draft, but I think with a full load as like a workhorse, but also I like the fact that we have Jamal Williams because that also that leverage it out to where we not overextending him and we got like a nice 1-2 punch because the league is more turning into like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah,
it's very few workhorse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Then I had Reynolds that came on late at the end of the year. Any event that maybe something happens with Jamal Williams. I don't know how big his contract is, but if you want to move on, you got another guy who he can tote the rock too. And then eventually they kind of got him involved in the pass game. I think one of those last couple games of the season. And but yeah, you guys did finish pretty strong. I want to say you guys started maybe like 0-10-1 or something like that. Or 0-9-1 or something like that. But you guys finished pretty good. Pretty strong, man.
I think we want to say we finished out was it 3-2 in the last 5. We went 3-2 somewhere around.
Yeah. So really good to build on, man. I think Dan Campbell's his passion and his passion and his just aura kind of radiates throughout that team. And another topic that we've spoken on the first couple episodes here has been like just like organization and kind of how the organization breeds that culture from like the top down. And you mentioned how ownership kind of changed over to the daughter and then getting the right GM and getting the right coaching and getting the right players in. Like it takes time to build that culture, but like once you can get it and you're able to sustain it, like a Pittsburgh, like a Baltimore, like a New England, and then you see that like consistency as far as being playoff contenders, Super Bowl contenders, year after year, man. But I think you guys are definitely headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm down. Even with the division open next year, I'd probably say we finish maybe third or second. First is depending. The only way we win the division if we get a quarterback. We get a quarterback out of the draft that can do something, or we can get a key free agent quarterback. That's solid, but I don't want to say I'm going to start calling playoffs maybe like the 2023-2024 season. That's it. So they give us a nice little, 2-year building window. But
Okay.
I think the strides we took, that's why that last 5-6 game was so important. The strides that we took then, if they would have kept losing, I don't think they would have hit that until next season. So I think that might be good. They got it at the tail end, so they got something to go into the OTAs and the mini camp with, and kind of like, and they can, it's appealing to other players. Like, hey, they are trying to build something special up there. So I think that'd be beneficial for us for the most part.
Absolutely, man. Quickly, if you have a perfect 2022 offseason, perfect and realistic 2022 offseason, what do you think that looks like?
Perfect. As far as with acquisitions?
Yeah, acquisitions, draft, and free agent.
Draft. Let's start with the draft. Draft is probably we get one of the edge rushers. I think we'll load up on the secondary linebacker area. More than likely, if we don't get a quarterback in the free agent, we're gonna probably take one with that Rams pick at the end of the first round. Yeah. Hopefully he's a hit, but we can't really bang on the seat. Outside of free agents, I think they're gonna kind of focus more inside. Like I said, Tracy Walker, Charles Harris. The linebacker, he got hurt. I think his name's Alex and the Zolan, or however you pronounce it. Can't his name, but for the most part, I think we're gonna probably try to key in on in-house, probably cut some dead capital and go from there. So I think a most positive and realistic, perfect one would just secondary, skilled player, and then the defensive line. I think they got the offensive line, that trench is done. I know Brad Holmes, he's big on the trench. So his first key is going to try to shore up that defensive line and how, get some help for Aka Ward and stuff.
Yeah. Anzalone. Is that it?
Anzalone. Okay.
Anzalone. I think that's it. Okay. He played with New Orleans last year. Yeah. Solid linebacker. Look like Thor. Got Thor in the middle of your defense. Exactly. But I agree with that, man. Yeah, if you guys can get obviously the edge rusher, can get some help on that linebacker secondary area. There's some decent linebacking free agents out there too. Cause with linebackers, they're like, we don't want to draft, or at least a lot of teams are like, we don't want to draft linebackers really high and we don't want to give them a lot of money. So it's like this really great area with linebackers. It's kind of like Cleveland. And I actually put him down as somebody that you guys might like is Anthony Walker. He played with the Colts beside Maniac, Darius Leonard. And he's okay. Like he's a thumper. So like he's good in run support. But he's kind of suspect in coverage stuff. But he's a guy that you can get probably for relatively cheap that can give you some decent linebacker play, at least in run support. And then maybe you got Anzalone or somebody else that can, be better in coverage. And then, but yeah, like wide receivers, this is really a draft to get one first round, second round, even third round. Cause like I said, the Alabama guys, I think they got 3 total, and I think only one of them got a first round career right now. So, you guys can definitely,
I think Michie slides back to the second round. That's what I'm hoping. He slides back to that second round. I think Williams he'll probably still go in the first round, even though with the injury, it's like his capabilities, like what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I think with Williams, they got him going like Saints-ish, somewhere around there. But yeah, Mechie, everything I've seen been second. I've seen as low as third. So if you can get him in the second, that's probably a steal anyway.
Right. Yeah.
To be completely honest, because the Bama wide receivers currently are like second to them LSU boys that are kind of going crazy right now. Those guys are different breeds. But I definitely think that'll be, a really good offseason, man. I think you guys can do it. You kind of touched on that. I think you said second, maybe third place finish next year, 2022. I think I'd say I see around the same. Who wins the division next year? I have no idea. It all kind of hinges on number 12 in Green Bay. But I think you guys at the very least be very exciting. I don't think you guys are no longer the laughing stocks of the NFL anymore. We kind of got out the basement. You guys are getting out of there now. Yeah, man, I think this was really good. Your talk. So you can tell the people where they can find you at.
Oh, couldn't even hear. What you say again?
I said go ahead and let the people know where they can find you at.
Man, I'm in the A, but for the most part, I don't be on the social media like that. So, if you're really trying to get in contact with me, you can hit my boy Freaky Zeke up. He'll let you know my direction.
Absolutely, man. It's your boy Zeke, man. You can catch me on IG at Fatboy Season. You can catch me on Twitter, Fatboy Season Inc. INC, TikTok, Fatboy Season 1. I say this every episode. Quit taking my videos down. They are not that bad. I promise you. And also, man, Game 7 Podcast, man. You can catch us on any platform that has podcasts. You can catch us on IG and Twitter at Game 7 Podcast __. That's 2 of them things, man. It's been another episode of 123 CABO, man. Detroit Lions edition, man. Shout out to the D. Shout out to Big Sean. Shout out to all them boys, man. And we out.